Kenobi. Excellent start. What an amazing start. I'm not going to say I had any expectations because I didn't know what to expect. Some wonderful surprises in there. Some notes that I took, Kenobi is basically defeated. And I mean that spiritually. He is spiritually defeated. He has lost his identity. His identity is cast aside. Everything that we knew of Kenobi, this is a new Kenobi. We knew Kenobi as an old man, right? As a someone that Luke knew. And we knew Kenobi in the Clone Wars, right? But we didn't know Kenobi in between. He is lost. Exactly, Red. He is lost. But did he have a choice? I mean, this is the thing. Like the pensiveness that Kenobi has is palpable. Like you can just feel like the whole cadence of the first episode was just so slow but perfect, because that pacing was just kind of like, okay, you're kind of getting up to speed, but he goes through the process 3 times, going to his job like 3 times, and just this in a maze, always taking the same routine, the day in day out, same routine. This is in stark contrast to everything that we knew of Kenobi in the Clone Wars era. So it was a perfect illustration of how mundane and how disconnected Kenobi was from his former life. He lost his identity. He is defeated. He is a different person. So just patterns, falling into patterns, falling into these loops, right? So that first episode really laid the groundwork. I mean, in more ways than one, but if more than anything, again, it was like Groundhog Day. It's basically been Groundhog Day, if you will, to use that movie reference, for Kenobi. Every day is the same. Do whatever he does at work, wrap up the meat or whatever he's got, the food at the end of the day, ride the tram back to the city, and then take the Kadu back to, I think it's a Kadu, right? Or not the Kadu, an Eope back to his homestead, as it was in a cave. So I was, at first I was like, okay, we've seen this before, but I realized he's in a routine. This is where he's defeated. He had to cast aside his entire identity as a Jedi. His entire identity was sidelined, and the storytelling behind that was on point. So, you see this Jedi in the desert who was originally called out by the Inquisitors in the cantina, or the pub, as they called it, coming to Kenobi and says, Obi-Wan, I know you can help. We can do this. And Obi-Wan says, you must have me confused. He has gone so deep. I believe that Kenobi has convinced himself that he is no longer a Jedi. He has had to protect him. I'll go deeper than that. It's not self-preservation. For Kenobi, I need to be very clear about this. Kenobi's endeavor is not self-preservation. It is very much protection. He is there to protect Luke. That is his entire focus. His entire reason to exist is to protect Luke and make sure Luke has what he needs when he needs it. And in many ways, I feel that Obi-Wan is trying to be the father that Owen is not. I'll come back to that. So he casts aside his identity, right? He's defeated. He denies a Jedi that ultimately pays the price, right? So he sees the Jedi hung in the town square, if that's what it is, and sees it, and you can see is disturbed. Kenobi's disturbed, but what can he do? If he speaks up, he loses his entire reason to exist. His entire reason to exist is to protect Luke. That's his entire reason to exist, and so he is torn between the world he knew, the people he knew, the life he knew, the identity he knew, and knowing what he needed to do, right? He's mission driven. Protect Luke at all costs. So denying the Jedi, falling inside this repetitive behavior, because it's just routine, right? The job, the thing that he has to do to survive, right? Just to survive, he's got to do this. Otherwise, he doesn't eat. He doesn't survive to protect Luke. You know, gifting the T-16 Skyhopper toy that Owen was having none of, right? But gifting that toy, Obi-Wan feels so connected to Luke at a distance, despite, and here's the thing, we are never, or I should say this, we should never see Obi-Wan interact with Luke, ever. Ever. Because if that happens, I mean, maybe, once or twice, but like lately, A New Hope loses meaning. Like, it was like, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if they mean old Ben Kenobi, right? Like, so we may have interaction, but it'll be light interaction. Very light, like passive interaction, and not like, Obi-Wan sitting at the table with Owen, right? It's not, it isn't going to be that deep. So, Kenobi is defeated, casts aside his identity, denies the Jedi who's trying to, who is, here's the thing, the Jedi who's there is looking for help. He's looking for connection. The other Jedi, but he doesn't recognize what Ben's role is, Obi-Wan's role is, and he's now taken a pseudonym. Although it's interesting you say Ben Kenobi when it was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Why would he just change his first name rather than first and last? I don't want to go that far into the weeds. He's now Ben, right? This is where he picks up, I assume, the name Ben. But this other Jedi sees him as Obi-Wan, right? And is there to say, hey, look, dude, I'm not alone. Oh my God, I'm able to connect with another Jedi. We can defeat them. And Obi-Wan is like, what are you talking about, dude? We lost the war. We lost it. It's done. It's over. Because Obi-Wan can't give up and says, yeah, I can't do it because I gotta, keep an eye after Luke, right? He's not gonna share information he can't. Although there was, on this front, I want to pick up on some foreshadowing. I think Qui-Gon Jinn is coming in this series. I believe Qui-Gon Jinn will show up in this series. That's not a spoiler because I don't know. But look at if you watched at the beginning of the show, he had Ben in the Clone Wars? Okay, fair enough, thank you. If you watched the program, and you watched like the previously on, whatever, like the setting the stage for the show, they mentioned at the end Yoda saying, "Oh, teach you to commune with him, I will." So you're like, "Oh, whoa!" And then like in the beginning, Obi-Wan's dreaming is like, Qui-Gon, like he senses Qui-Gon, but he doesn't yet know how to communicate with him. Yet, it's gonna happen. Mark the time and date. I have no access. I have no insight. Just look at this. It's foreshadowing, dude. Why would they say Yoda, "Oh, teach you to commune with him, I will"? And why would he have the dream like Qui-Gon? He senses him, but he doesn't know how to connect with him yet. Qui-Gon's coming back. It's going to be a good secret. He's coming back. When it happens, you're like, oh my God, Chris was right. Come on, dude. That's not, but you can figure that out. That's duck on a pond, dude. Duck on a pond. Sorry I'm missing so much chat because I'm kind of knee-deep in this stuff. He also asked for help from Qui-Gon, didn't he? Well, that's what I'm saying. He's like, I think he senses Qui-Gon, but doesn't know how to communicate with him. Because that was like a cliffhanger in episode 3, which is where Kenobi fits. Like, this is where I love Kenobi already, this series. Is it fills in those blanks, and I don't mind those blanks being filled in. So this leads me, I've got notes for myself. Was he only there for Luke? Or just not wanting to leave Luke alone? And there's a difference, right? He's there for Luke. He's there to protect Luke. But I wouldn't say confrontation. When Leia is kidnapped, right? He does not want to leave Luke. Why? And so, was his role decided he was going to protect Luke and he was the only one? Or was it something where he realized if he leaves Luke, there's a chance, because everything is happening, Luke could fall to the dark side, he could get captured, he could get killed. So, because remember, by the time Bail travels to Tatooine to confront Obi-Wan, honestly, y'all, I cannot imagine, and we've been farting around tonight, I cannot imagine a true Star Wars fan who is streaming today not talking about Kenobi. Like, if you are a Star Wars fan and you're on Twitch and you're not talking Kenobi and you're going this deep into spoilers, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. You need to reevaluate. Because, dude, this is Star Wars. It's contemporary. It's happening right now. This is exciting. This is Star Wars fandom. You can be a fan of Star Wars. You can like Star Wars for sure. But this is Star Wars fandom. Pink, I'm kind of with you. I think he was afraid to leave. I think that was the case, because I think he can't deny that he wants to help Leia. But again, he's pulled. He wants to help the Jedi, but he can't. So the threat of a Jedi, the Jedi's dead, right? He wants to help Leia, but he can't leave. If he leaves Luke, he's torn. It's a catch-22. Obi-Wan's life is a catch-22. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. So he takes a risk. So that was tremendous. The risk that Obi-Wan took was tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Tremendous. I noted, I love the Luke and Leia. I love Luke doing the thing, kind of carefree. And Leia, but they're both adventurous in different ways, right? Luke is like pretending to be a space pilot, and Leia's like running off, having adventures in the forest, right, on Alderaan. They were the same. But at the same time, Luke was raised differently than Leia, not just in terms of poverty versus opulence, but specifically, Luke is a nephew and Leia is a daughter. There are diametrically opposed upbringings. Just look at the... man, I'm telling you, if anybody out there, Kenobi was stupid. Dude, you're missing so much nuance. You're not... I'm sorry, dude. You're missing so much... The depth. That you're like, wow, this is how Luke was raised. He was a nephew. Because it was Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru, right? He was a nephew. Leia was a daughter, and Bale made a point to say that. There's a reason they're staging this way. Like, this is just... It's so incredibly deep. This is just, it's nuanced, right? So love that Luke and Leia are there as kids. And let's face it, without Luke and Leia involved with Kenobi, it would be pointless. Because Kenobi's entire mission after Revenge of the Sith was to protect Luke, right? So Luke is the nephew. Leia's the daughter. We got to see Alderaan for real. That was awesome. Leia is smart as a whip. Love Leia. And I love the fact that Jedi, my daughter, right, is going to watch it and see herself in Leia. Representation is important. She'll see herself in Leia. So I can't wait to hear her reaction to Leia. For real. Yeah, Lola is the name of her droid. They're going to have droid merch. They're going to have Lola merch. On June 1st, it's going to be released. So I think Diana and Jedi, with her family, Diana's family in Texas, are going to watch that. Hopefully tonight. Because I want to hear what Jedi's reaction to seeing Leia as a kid, her age-ish, was fantastic. So I'm a fan of that. Because so many little girls out there, those who identify, as female girls, like these are the people, these are the roles they were thrown into, to see themselves on the screen is fantastic. And it's great storytelling, great character development, great start. Great context to this. It was great to see Obi-Wan and Leia's first moment. Now, here's a parallel, right? Leia is being effectively rescued by Obi-Wan in their first interaction. Luke was rescued by Leia in their first interaction. Like, there's a parallel there, dude. Parallel. Yeah, C-3PO appearance, that's right. The C-3PO appearance. Did anybody else pick up on that parallel? Obi-Wan basically getting Leia out of the cell, and Luke doing the same thing. That's an extreme echo. Extreme echo. So it was wonderful to see that. If only it was like, oh, wow. Three Heathen noted they're building her to be a leader. They are. And I think they're doing a wonderful job. Leia is, as I noted, she is smart as a whip. She is astute. Astute. Despite her age. Very observant. But equally as carefree as Luke in a different environment. Obi-Wan is a protector. Different for each kid. Like he never interacted with Luke. I don't want to say this, but like I don't know if Obi-Wan's going to interact with Luke. I think this is going to be Obi-Wan Leia, Obi-Wan Inquisitor. I don't think Luke is going to enter the picture. If so, very, very, very briefly, very lightly. And not to any degree of them having a deep conversation. Because Luke's reaction was like, I wonder if they mean old Ben Kenobi, right? Like, I wonder if, like, just a very passing kind of relationship. You love how she was ordering Kenobi around. Well, as Guardian Wookiee, I have a daughter, and let me tell you, that is realistic. Let me tell you. So the setup, I feel this entire setup of Kenobi, yeah, there are payoffs, certainly. But the entire setup of Kenobi, I'm looking at my notes here, is perfect. Is going to add so much depth after watching Kenobi and Leia and Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan, finding himself again or not losing himself entirely in this process. When Leia says in A New Hope, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope." Like, that's got weight to it now. I mean, we knew they must have known each other, whatever, but now there's weight. Now there's a backstory. Like, Obi-Wan saved her life in more ways than one. Obi-Wan was there, and maybe Leia didn't understand it entirely. Maybe I assume Obi-Wan was keeping it to himself because Leia was basically clueless as far as Jedi was concerned, at least until, long after, right? Where she was training with Luke. So it fits. It absolutely fits. So Obi-Wan is seen as a protector, certainly. The setup is perfect for the "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi" line. Another thing, again, to kind of reinforce that Obi-Wan has lost himself. Obi-Wan is a stranger to himself. Obi-Wan is cut off from himself. He doesn't, as much as we've known Obi-Wan from the Clone Wars and just doing these amazing things and the prequels, like, he can't, it's something so simple and routine, like, would come second nature. Leia's falling, right? She's gripping, she's falling. He's like, I have to save her. I have to find that. I have to reconnect. So Obi-Wan has cut himself. We now know, we have confirmation that Obi-Wan has cut himself off from the Force, much like Luke did. That so many whining people said about, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you a whiner if you didn't like The Last Jedi. Okay, it's entertainment. You can choose to not like it or like it. Obi-Wan did the same thing. Obi-Wan had to cut himself off from the Force to be able to protect him, to be able to protect Luke. So that is deep. So it's like full circle, right? So Luke cuts himself off from the Force in The Last Jedi, or by the time we know Luke, right? So everything is just, it starts to, like, it clicks. It makes the original trilogy, specifically A New Hope, have that much more depth. It makes The Last Jedi have that much more depth. Seriously, if you're like, oh, I hated The Last Jedi, watch it again. Knowing what Obi-Wan has gone through, watching him cut himself off from the Force, watching a Jedi get destroyed, cutting himself off to the point where Leia was falling. He was struggling to save her. He cut himself off so much. He couldn't even, like, do a Force pull, right? He couldn't do it. And so I was like, okay, you know how the story ends. That's not the point. That's not the point. This is about the journey, not the destination. Obi-Wan was so cut off from the Force, but that when he needed to call it, when he needed to use the Force, he couldn't do it. He was so cut off. So cut off. So that was incredibly, I mean, I just like, wow, dude, again, echoes. You're going to hear echoes of that from Luke in the Last Jedi. And, like, I know some people didn't like it. It was divisive, but I'm saying, it's not unrealistic. And now you got to watch it again. You have to watch it again. Because you can't say, oh, I love Kenobi, but I don't like The Last Jedi. I'm like, dude, do you not see the echoes, dude? Do you not see the echoes? It is clear as day. So I love the Inquisitors, certainly. Nice dovetailing with those who watched Rebels. If you did not watch Rebels, you have failed yourself. I warned you. Watch Rebels. If you didn't, that's on you. Not my problem. But you're missing out on a lot. I'll say that. And I told you before. If you're missing out on Rebels and say, oh, I just like the Star Wars movies, you're missing out. Oh, I like Kenobi. It was pretty, or like, Kenobi was stupid. Well, then you're not paying attention. It was stupid. You're not paying attention. I've laid out how many points of nuance here that are clear as day. If you don't even need to be paying that much attention to recognize parallels, poetry, as George Lucas called it. So the Inquisitors were in Rebels. I'll come back to that in a tiny bit. I thought they were played well, very well. The Grand Inquisitor, despite my initial reaction to the Powan having a lesser elongated head, I got over that pretty quickly. But I like the Inquisitors. I think that they make a good nemesis. Although I would argue that the nemesis in Kenobi is Kenobi himself. Now, coming on the Inquisitors, I think the Grand Inquisitor is not dead. I think that was a fake out. We didn't see him actually pass. We saw him get, basically skewered by the other Inquisitor. But I don't think he's dead. If only because that would mean that Rebels made no sense. And they're not going to strike Rebels from canon. They're just not. That would be stupid for them to strike Rebels from canon. Now, I realize they kind of fudged it between the comics and Bad Batch. With Kanan's arc, they fudged it a bit. They fudged it a lot, actually. So I understand the comics being separated, but they can't strike canon. So the Grand Inquisitor is not dead. This is not even a spoiler. I'm serious. If you have not seen Rebels, this is on you, dude. Not on me. The Grand Inquisitor is not dead. In fact, I think if I were to predict it, I think the Grand Inquisitor is going to end. What's her name? Second sister? Which sister is it? From the Inquisitorius? Either way, like all this nuance. Is it third sister? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for the clarification. I get sometimes numbers and me don't get along. But anyway, God, there was so much to. It was a smorgasbord of being able to pick from. So great. So wonderful. So wonderful to see. Vader is not in control of the Inquisitors. They report to Vader, but he's not in control. They're autonomous. And I think that was evident by Third Sister's garishness, right? And her boldness in the face of the Grand Inquisitor and what, Fifth Brother? Obi-Wan, though, I want to know, I say he's very weighted. He's pensive. He's older. He's wiser, right? Yeah, the fake Jedi was hilarious. Was Kumail Nandani? Is that the actor's name? I thought it was fun. I'm like, which side is he on? I'm like, it's obvious it was fake, but he played it very well. I hope he's not done. I'd like to see him again for comic relief, as well as the Jawa. The Jawa was fun comic relief as well. But it was an aside. It wasn't like a critical. It was a fun, like, okay, this is fun. Yeah, that's kind of cute. That's funny. But like, Is that his name? I may have messed up his name. Feel free to remind me. Okay, so then we get to when Leia was on the ship escaping from I gotta remember the name of the planet. Again, y'all can remind me. Yeah, the Jawa was I'm not gonna say it was awesome. It was fun. It was comic relief, and but it had its place. It was like, okay, that's a neat little footnote, but not the meat. Kumail Nanjiani. Is it Nanjiani? Sorry. Nanjiani. Kumail Nanjiani. I have to remember that. I come close, but I have to remember that. He's not watching my stream here. I know. But you still, if you respect someone, you should get to know their name and their pronunciation. So, speaking of Anakin Zero Cool. You like when Obi-Wan went to retrieve his lightsaber and there were two in the box? Yeah, Zero Cool. That was pretty cool. I'm like, whoa, this is where they went. Whoa. Because he even told the other Jedi, who was later killed, like, go bury the lightsaber in the middle of the desert and just be done with it, right? Well, Dayu. Thank you, Creeper. I got to remember these things. Still fresh in my memory. So, the other one was absolutely Anakin. So the back that got buried, you can see in the first episode, you can see the weight that you can see the weight that Kenobi is carrying around with him. It is such a tremendous weight. Every decision has to be calculated. He can't just fly off to Dayu to rescue Leia. He's got to calculate against what are the threats. What are the chances that these people are going to get slaughtered by the Empire, right? My responsibility. And he already feels he's failed people. So, yeah, it was a big deal that he went to rescue Leia. Huge deal. And, of course, Leia, a very petulant child, a very precocious, right? But it is in character for Leia to be what she was at that age. It was perfect. It was perfect. Nah, I wouldn't say brat. Firelight, I wouldn't say brat. Precocious, maybe. I wouldn't say brat. She wasn't entitled. She was not entitled. Throw Firelight. Do not confuse the two. She was not a brat. She's smart. She's smart as a whip. She saw through Obi-Wan. She's able to think 3 steps ahead of everybody else, including her cousin. Not a diva. Sorry. No, Glorious, you're wrong. You are wrong. She is not a diva. Not. You're not paying attention. And I mean this respectfully, Glorious. You're not paying attention if you say she's a diva. You're not. You're missing the mark. In fact, I'll go a step further. Did she or did she not correct Obi-Wan? Did she or did she not correct Obi-Wan when he said princess, right? She said, don't call me princess. She's not having it. She's assertive. Doesn't mean she's a brat. Absolutely not. Doesn't mean she's a diva. A diva would be like, more like Princess, what was her name from Spaceballs? That's a diva. Leia was not a diva. She's smart, and there's a difference. She's assertive. There's a difference. Don't underestimate Leia. Do not downplay Leia's character. I don't think you're doing it intentionally, but don't miss this. This is important. Not just confident Gloria. Not Gloria. Not just confident Glorious. She knew. She wasn't just she knew. She's like, this is what it is. I can see through you, dude. She may be sarcastic. You can give her that. She was sarcastic. More like grandfather. More like, strong-willed. Absolutely. Let's be careful with our language here. Her character is very defined. And I think this is also very astute. Very astute here. Cerstus notes, could that thinking ahead be the Force? Nailed it! Nailed it. I'm sorry, but knowing and you could call it, if you're going to call Leia a brat or a diva, then you'd have to call Luke the same thing. Luke was whiny. There's no doubt about that. Luke was whiny. There's no question about that, but Leia, at this point, she may not have known it was the Force. It was that confidence that came because she had intuition. And having that intuition is not for the sake of saying I'm right and you're wrong. She's just right. So adults think they know better. Older children think they know better, but Leia's like, I know the truth. Here's the truth. And what are they going to say? No, that's a lie. Like, this is the truth. They know it's the truth. And you can see the reaction in her cousin. In her cousin's face, in her cousin's reaction, you can see the reaction in Obi-Wan. I'm telling you, dude, you want to talk about a role model. The confidence came because she knew she could see the truth. She could read people. She could see through people, whether that was the Force or it was just personality. It's an interesting thing to think about, isn't it, Cerstus? Because I can't prove it one way or the other. But let's be careful about our language. Let's be very careful. Let's be very careful. Because I don't want to see any... I'm sorry. And I know the words that you threw out. Let's contextualize this. Because I know people are going to be saying the same thing in social. And I'm sorry. That's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Recognize what seeds they are sowing. Recognize what her value is in this story. Recognize who she is. And she's not entitled. She's not demanding. Caveat, she is demanding of the truth. She expects the truth from other people. She'll be playful, right? She's playful. She's adventurous. But she also knows when someone's not telling the truth. Something ain't right. Even with Obi-Wan, like, okay, what's going on? I don't know if I can trust you yet. That intuition, it's the Force. Seeds were it was germinating even back then. So, like, Leia's character, for anybody who says, well, I think it's stupid that they're spending so much time on Leia. We are getting a Leia backstory just as strong as we're getting an Obi-Wan backstory. Like, this is just... I could not have asked for a better start to a series. I honestly could not. I could not. So, anyway, it's not just confidence. Yeah, it's she knows what she's talking about. I think this is we need to be very clear about this language, because words have meaning. They have weight. When we say brat, I know a brat when I see one. The princess, what was her name? Daphne is the name of the actress who played her. Princess Vespa. Vespa in Spaceballs was a brat. Leia is not a brat. And by the way, I'm not calling you out, but I'm not glorious at all. I just want to be clear on the language. I'm not calling anybody out. I just want to talk about it. I want to flesh it. I want to make sure you understand, everybody understands, at least my perspective, right? It's just deeper. So this means something to me because, as I said, I'm raising a daughter, right? And I need to, look, Leia knows the truth. She knows how to see the truth. She knows how to get the truth. She's got a strong will, a strong character, can stand up for herself. She's a perfect role model. Perfect. Don't call me princess. Don't call me princess. I loved that line. I was like, oh. So she's not hung up on titles, right? The Anakin line, where Obi-Wan is just kind of like wrestling with this, oh my God, because the Inquisitor said, oh, Anakin lives. It reminded when he said, Anakin. Like he thought Anakin was gone, he was dead. It reminded me a lot of the reaction that Ahsoka had when she was facing down Vader in Rebels. Like she just realized, like Ahsoka was like, oh my God. You could just see this wobbling in her face. And it reminded me a lot of that. Like that now Obi-Wan knows what happened to Anakin, right? And then, of course, we cut away to him in the back to tank. Anakin in the back to tank. A.K.A. it wasn't Anakin. Anakin was dead. Vader in the back to tank, right? So I thought that was well played. Just like he was just speechless. Like, what do I say? He's alive? Who is he? Where is he? He may not even know of Vader's presence 10 years later. He probably may have heard rumors on Tatooine, but would not have necessarily made the connection yet. Now he has. Now he will. I think this is probably going to be my, I'll say my favorite of all. I mean, I love The Mandalorian, but I like how Kenobi is adding all this context to every other Star Wars we had before. It's done so well. Deborah Chow, I think, is the showrunner. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Greeper. That's what I just said. I think it's going to be Jedi's favorite Star Wars because she will see, she'll see herself in Leia. And I'll be able to reinforce it and say, see how Leia she doesn't lie? She has fun and it's playful, but she always tries to get the truth, right? She's able to read people. You know, that's important to try to get to the truth. I think it's going to be Jedi's favorite because she's going to see herself in Leia. I really do believe that. Then Lola, the little droid, I'm like, it's wouldn't be my favorite droid design, but there is going to be merch for Lola, so I can't wait to hear Jedi's reaction to Lola. Because if she likes Lola, I love Lola. I want to get Lola merch for Jedi so she can have Lola. There you go. There you go. There's going to be like the collection. There's going to be like animatronic Lola and a collectible Lola and a collectible figurine Lolas. I don't know where she's going to be on the Lola scale, but I'm hoping that she loves Lola. Like, I love a Lola. So I want to be able to get her. I want to be able to get Jedi a Lola so she can pretend to be Princess Leia at her age, which is just it's wild. So anyway, I love that. I love that. I love that for Jedi that she gets to see a young Leia. I hope she enjoys it. I really do. Because she is not to this point. She didn't watch the Ewok movies because, let's face it, they're a little dated. But she's never truly seen a little girl play a role in Star Wars. We've seen a little boy. We've seen Anakin. I don't think we're going to see that much of Luke. But I love that Leia is getting a focus to see, if only to see the interaction between Obi-Wan and Leia and add more depth to that. So it was fantastic. You want to print Lola? I don't know if I want to print one. I would potentially if it was the right one. But if Jedi is really excited for Lola, I will get the merch. I absolutely will. I'll get the Lola merch. I have a feeling she's gonna want to dress up like that Leia for Halloween. I want to be like Leia for Halloween. I want to be like Leia. I'm going to have, because they're probably not gonna release a costume. I may have to custom. I may have to pay someone to do that, to build a cosplayed Leia in the garb, which no one's gonna recognize who she is at that point. But for sure, yeah, Jinn and Rey were blips. They were not. There wasn't an immense amount of time. So I love that. There's so much to love about Kenobi. So I'm not even covering everything, but those are like my high level thoughts